Hi, it's the M.L.M for the Soul channel. I do have a new topic for today. Before I begin, I just would like to say, may the words and expressions of my mouth, the thoughts and meditations of my heart, find favor and acceptance before you, Hashem, and the people I thank have inspired me. I hope they can inspire you as well. And I will have links below this video to their sites. There are Rabbi Shalom Arish, Rabbi Lazer Brody, Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi, Rabbi Eli Mansour, Rabbi Lon Anava, Rabbi Yuval Ovadia, Rabbi Daniel Asser, Nisan Baruch Black, David Sachs, Rabbi Michael Skobach, Jews for Judaism, Rabbi David Ashir, Rabbi Aaron Ruvain, and Rabbi Yosef Chesney. So if you've never checked out the channel before, I will have a link below to my first video, which explains what M.L.M for the soul means, what it stands for, and what I'm doing. So this is for the upcoming Parashat Yitro, or Yisro, however you pronounce it. And this is from Rabbi Eli Mansour. And this is called, I call this a great act of kindness. So Yitro, who was Moshe's father-in-law, joined Bnei Israel as they encamped by Mount Sinai. And he saw Moshe sitting all day long, single-handedly presiding over all the legal cases that arose among the nation. Seeing how Moshe assumed this responsibility alone, Yitro felt that a better system was needed. He turned to Moshe and recommended that he appoint a hierarchy of judges to serve underneath him. Specifically, Yitro advised Moshe to appoint judges in charge of 1,000 constituents, judges in charge of 100, judges in charge of 100, judges in charge of 50, and judges in charge of 10. The Torah tells that Moshe accepted Yitro's advice, and thousands of judges were appointed to serve underneath him. So we might wonder why Moshe did heed Yitro's advice. As the expression goes, if it is now broken, don't fix it. Moshe obviously felt he could handle the burden of judging the nation alone. What was it about Yitro's suggestion that Moshe found so compelling? Apparently there was something deeper to Yitro's recommendation. That simply alleviating Moshe's burden of alleviating Moshe's burden of responsibility. Indeed, the Midrash comments that since Yitro performed a great act of kindness for Am Yisrael by recommending the appointment of judges, his descendants were rewarded by being forewarned of Am Yisrael's attack on the nation of Amalek, which means his name should be erased and wiped out, remembered and wiped out. His name should be erased. His name and memory should be erased, so they could leave the area to be safe. And that was from Shmuel Aleph, chapter 15. At first glance, it does not appear as though Yitro performed a great act of kindness for Am Yisrael. His suggestion helped Moshe and perhaps those who would have otherwise needed to wait online to bring their cases before Moshe. But the Midrash speaks of Yitro's performing kindness for the entire nation, indicating that there is a deeper significance to Yitro's advice to Moshe. So a Kabbalistic explanation was offered by one of the great sages of Aleppo, Rabbi Yitzchak Shrem, in his work Likutim Mipardes. He writes that Yitro's advice to Moshe involved not only his concern for Moshe, but also the concern of the Mazikim, which are the harmful spiritual forces that threaten Bnei Israel. Every weeknight before Arvit, which is Mariv, the prayer that's said at night, we recite the verse, V'hu rachum yechaper avon v'lo yashchit. And the Kabbalists explain that nighttime is a time of harsh judgment, when we can potentially be harmed by the Mazikin. We therefore recite this verse, which offers us protection from these harmful forces. So the women don't usually, just so a side note myself, to say just the women don't usually recite Marav or Arva. Some do, it's not a requirement, just so you know. So the four primary Mazikin are called Avon, Mashchit, Af, and Chema. We therefore ask that Yechaper Avon, we should be protected from Avon. V'lo yashchit, we should be protected from mashchit. V'hirba la hashiv apo, we should be protected from af. And v'lo yakir kol chamato, we should be protected from chema. So that's interesting from that pasuk, that you can derive that. So the Likutim Mipardes explains that when two litigants are embroiled in a legal conflict and waiting for it to be resolved according to Torah law, this empowers the Mazikin. The situation of friction and conflict has the potential to cause great spiritual harm. And this is what worried Yitro. It was not Moshe's burden of responsibility that concerned Yitro, but the spiritual effect of people embroiled in a legal dispute waiting for it to be resolved. So Yitro therefore urged Moshe to appoint Sarei Alafim, Sarei Me'ot, Sarei Chamishim, Sarei Asarot. So judges over 1,000, 150, and 10. So this is interesting how this brings in with the Mazikin, the spiritual, what is it called again? The spiritual... harmful spiritual forces. So here's how it works. So the letter Aleph at the beginning of Alafim represents the Af, that's one of them. The Mem at the beginning of Me'ot represents mashchit. The chet at the beginning of chamishim represents chema, and the ayin at the beginning of asara represents avon. So that's very interesting. So that is what Yitro was telling Moshe, that he needed to expedite the process of resolving the people's disputes, if for no other reason than to negate the harmful effects of strife and conflict between people, a situation which poses grave spiritual danger to Am Yisrael. Moshe listened to Yitro because this was indeed a matter of grave concern. He recognized the need to avert this dangerous situation, and he proceeded to appoint judges. And thus Yitro truly performed a great act of kindness for the entire nation, protecting them from the spiritual harm caused by conflict. So, and I pray, and I hope and pray that we all can avoid that as well between each other, and that we will all merit to live and see the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days and the rebuilding of our final and everlasting Beit HaMikdash. Amen, and thanks for watching.